Welcome to the OTech Talks podcast, where it's all about working on technologies. You will hear the latest tech information, and your host, Kashif Manzoor, brings together product overviews, how-tos, best practices, tips and tricks, and troubleshooting techniques.
Welcome to Open Tech Talks.tv, and today we have a guest speaker with us, Dr. Phil Hickman, the founder and CEO of Plabook. And this is very interesting and inspiring story, which I can say because it's related to education technology. And as a lifelong learner, I believe that we are gonna learn from Dr. Phil how he has started and how eventually what leads him to work on a playbook. So if Dr. Phil, you can brief about yourself to the audience, and that's really appreciated.
Yeah. Hey. No. First of all, thank you for allowing me to be on your show. It's a pleasure. I'm a follower. Yeah. So Playbook is an innovative reading technology that uses artificial intelligence, natural language processing, and speech recognition to help children learn how to read. The basis of it is that right now the only way that we currently assess reading and aid with reading is that we quietly have a child read a paragraph and they answer multiple choice questions. Well, that's only
Right.
reading comprehension. That's reading comprehension. That has nothing to do with basic reading. And the actual issue is that not the comprehension is not necessarily the issue. Because if you talk to people, they can communicate, they can understand what you're saying, but they spend so much energy trying to decode and break down sentences that they don't have any more brain power, any more energy to use in order to understand what they just read. And so, for the first time, we're able to use speech recognition. So we're able to hear the student read. We have a patented AI technology and natural language processing technology that actually not only hears the child read, but we can hear all the way down to the phonemic level. So we can hear down to the unit of speech. So where Siri or Alexa or something like that, they hear a whole text as you read, and they're not as accurate because they're listening for millions of words. We have a custom language model. And when we're able to hear, we also have verification system to where we're breaking it down to unit of speech, and we could provide an analysis of that, of the errors, pausing, substitution, like all those kind of errors that someone does in reading. And then we're able to give a smart recommendation based off the students' deficits to close their gaps. And so the theory is basically a student is almost like a Swiss cheese where they have holes in their foundation. And if you plug in those holes, they're a solid base. Once they have that foundation, then they can start to fluently read and and then we can work on comprehension. But before we even get to comprehension, we have to fill in the gaps of the foundational skills that students didn't get. So that's kind of the basis of it. The reason for it is that most people think that reading is natural, but it's actually a newer part of our evolution. So where people think, you're born, you start to coo and babble, and then you speak, and then you start to walk, and then you start to read. That's not what happens. You actually have to rewire the brain in order to learn how to read. It's not a natural process at all. It's not an inherent genetic process. And so it's almost like rocket science. And you have to do a lot of direct instruction. And if people don't know how to do that, you start to create holes in a student's foundation. And that's where we have these reading deficits.
Okay. Now let's maybe go to some basics. How did you start at this prior to doing a playbook, or what you were doing? Maybe a
Oh, excellent
context
question.
to bring to the playbook that will.
Yeah. Sorry, I went all the way into the technology, but a little bit about myself. I mean, I have 5 graduate degrees and a doctorate, and I'm working on another 8th degree or another graduate degree, MBA from a STEAM university. I did everything in the field of education. So I was a special education teacher. I was a school psychologist. I still have a couple of child psychology clinics. And then I
Mm-hmm.
was a assistant principal, a principal. I was a director of education. I started a charter school, became a superintendent of some of the largest school districts in the nation, area superintendent. I had 300 schools and 210,000 students. Then I was a superintendent in some of the most rural areas in Mississippi. And then I was a national ambassador for United States Department of Education. Then I did
Okay.
some kind of brief consulting work for Apple and Amazon, and did a pretty good
Mm-hmm.
solid stint at Oracle. And worked, a few
Mm-hmm.
years at Oracle and upper management and leading high effective technology teams, especially in health tech and AI.
Right.
After taught myself how to code, I kind of developed I founded a few nonprofits, coding academies for urban youth, and then yeah, and then just from all my experience and just and start looking at the data. 75% of children in the United States read below grade level in fourth grade, and that leads to a high dropout rate, and 73% of crime in the United States is created by high school dropouts. And then you look at
Mm-hmm.
81% of prison inmates have a reading impairment that's never been corrected. And so it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
a level of national security. When you look at
Mm-hmm.
the deficits, that how much people are not able to read and read proficiently. And then you look at the
Mm-hmm.
fact that the research is clear that it says in 2040, 2030, 2040, 85% of jobs that will exist have not been invented yet, but they will have some
Right.
aspect of technology and reading proficiency, because where the game of school right now is the ability to memorize and regurgitate facts. That is your top student,
True.
who has the best memory, can regurgitate whatever it is that they learn. Well, now you have that little black box in your hand. You have access to everything. Chat GPT can give you any information, but now you
Right.
have to critically, yeah, you have to critically read through it and be able to critically apply it. That's what your worth's going to be. And without
Mm-hmm.
that ability, then we're at a deficit. You have the have and have nots, and so that kind of gave me that motivation to develop this technology.
And while thought from idea to putting it into action, so how long it took and how that journey started? I mean, you must be coding some yourself, or you onboarded some folks,
Yeah.
teammates. How was that journey?
Oh yeah. So started myself and can only get it so far. Then collaborated and partnered with a teammate, and even when we talk about globalization, or we talk about white collar
Mm-hmm.
automation, um, no, I mean I partnered with a guy I have never seen in person, Asif,
Hmm.
and Asif is he's from Bangladesh and Canada. He goes
Mm-hmm.
back and forth to Bangladesh and Canada, and so he's my
Mm-hmm.
CTO and leads a real
Okay.
high, powerful team. And yeah, and so we partnered and we finished it out, and then we brought on another guy named JP John Paul, and
Mm-hmm.
so where he kind of looked at the language model, the a language expert. And yeah, and we developed it, and we it took us a couple of years. It's an ed tech
Mm-hmm.
product, which has a higher level of scrutiny, because you're
Mm-hmm.
using it to advance education, that you have to get it right. So we did a lot of piloting, did a lot of training our models, our speech engine model, because we developed our own. We don't
Mm-hmm.
use any third party tools. And then we started the fun stuff, is with feedback and adding gamification, and
Hmm.
our strong recommendation system to really guide teachers and adults, but then also a kind of a GPS model to guide the student, to really help also inspire the adult to be able to plug in the holes of that student's deficit based off student driven information and gamification and those kind of things.
Hmm. So you didn't use any service from some of these cloud providers to on either speech or language or anything. This is your own built model.
These are our own, our own patented models. We
Yeah,
don't use
on purpose.
Chat GPT or any third party tools. We
Hmm.
developed our
Tools.
own speech engine. We developed our own natural language processing, or natural language model. Yep,
Okay.
everything. Mhm.
And and from a developing to piloting it, and
Mhm.
then piloting to make it in a commercial model, how you were validating it that yes, you are on the right track, as you mentioned that you spent a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, we
So
have a lot of research behind it. We partner with some
okay.
universities. Yep, and we
Hmm.
partner with a bunch of school districts to pilot it for free
Hmm.
before we started charging
Hmm.
people. We wanted to make sure that
Hmm.
we had a perfect small baby instead of uh, um, in tech terms you say the you get the put the ugly baby out
Right.
MVP instead of a small
And
MVP product. Yeah, we wanted to make sure that
hmm.
we had our perfect small baby, right? Something that is
Hmm.
really effective, is going to get good results for students, and
Hmm.
really has a strong predictive model. And so we, of course, the research compared it to other tools that are out there. The best is an adult sitting next to a student. That is the
Hmm.
closest that you can get to our tool, is an adult sitting next to a student, hear a student reading, and actually marking down every error that a student has made. A trained
Hmm.
teacher, and so we
Hmm.
have the accuracy. We have the accuracy of that adult, and we standardize it. So where there's deficits in adults, right, from adult to adult, we have a standardized model that actually accurately assess, diagnose, and prescribes solutions to help a student close their reading deficits.
And it does recognize different slang and different way of speaking students based on maybe ethnic or religion or I mean geographical locations and all.
Yeah, perfect question.
It
I
does.
mean, we take 145 different accents and regional dialects.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Great. So now, on which stage it is? I mean, how what are the key features of products which are being used by different students?
Oh, we're fully in the market. We're
Okay.
B2B. We go direct to school
Hmm.
districts. And so
Hmm.
we're in New York, we're in Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kansas City,
Hmm.
Texas. Yeah, we're all over and looking to expand.
And okay, and this model is to you sell to the universities or schools, and then they use it within part of their curriculum.
They use it, yes, to help drive their curriculum. So it's more of an
Mm-hmm.
informative assessment. Is the main thing is an
Mm-hmm.
informative assessment. So it forms the decision making instruction of what they should do for a student. In the background, we have gamification that helps strengthen the student skills with practice. But the main
Mm-hmm.
is guiding that every time a student picks up a book or does our activities and use voice, we're able to
Mm-hmm.
really guide the teacher of what they can do, what they need to do, which a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times we find that we have adults or teachers who they don't understand the science of reading. But obviously, if you
Mm-hmm.
direct them of what they need to do, then they can intervene based off the curriculum. But
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for if you have a bunch of different students, 20, 25 students, to figure out where every student is has a deficit at. What we tend to do is
Mm-hmm.
just give a general approach, a general intervention, and we're not
Mm-hmm.
reaching everyone. And so
Oh,
yeah, so we're able to really differentiate it and personalize learning for students, and give a personalized plan where teachers can really meet the needs of each individual students, and we group students as well.
okay. So as this journey must be not an easy and without challenge, right? Because we are now discussing a success that okay, this is how we spent a couple of years. So if any challenge you come into your mind from an AI point of view, or maybe models or algorithms, or maybe talent point of view, what are the common which you can point out to for someone if he's venturing into a project or maybe he's building a product?
Yeah, I think ed tech is just a different field. There's
Hmm.
talent out there, but a lot of people, one, it was more of a, it was more in, as far as an invention. And so
Hmm.
it wasn't something that, it was more pioneering technology. that hasn't been used in education in that sense. And so it was a lot of doubters because everybody's familiar with speech recognition, and it's not the best, right? And so yeah, and so because we are able to hear down to the phonemic level, because we were able to do those kind of things, it wasn't with a lot of backing, meaning we didn't have a lot of funders, a lot of VCs. So I had to do a lot of bootstrapping, but not
Mhm.
necessarily just my own money or my own funding, but a lot of
Mhm.
bootstrapping for winning competitions, pitch competitions, and those kind of things, and traveling the world to to win those pitch competitions in order to get the foundational money that we need in order to build the basis of our product. And then when you have a product in education, our ed tech, a lot of people, rightfully so, do not want you experimenting on kids. But that's the
Mhm.
data set that you need, right? You need that data set of children. And then in education, as soon as they see something wrong, they abandon the tool, even if it's
Right.
in its infant stage. Where in other fields, everybody understands that this is an MVP that is going to continually getting better with usage and usage. The patience is not there in the field of education. So those are
Mhm.
some of the obstacles, that we had to accomplish. And then in education, the procurement cycle is bad, and so it takes 4 or 5 months until they pay you, and don't see nothing wrong with it. Yeah, and don't see nothing wrong with it. And it's like, well, we got bills to pay too. So that's that. As far as, like I said, talent, I think the talent is out there. It's just how attractive or how sexy your product is in your field, or the market that you're going after. Again, ed tech is, even though it's a business, people see it as a nonprofit or a mission base, or those kind of things, and they don't necessarily see the immediate dollars that results from a business in ed tech. Even though we have some great unicorns, but even in that sense, most unicorns in ed tech are direct to consumer. They're not direct to school districts. And so that's another thing. And then, when you, another thing about ed tech is that you have those big dinosaurs, those old textbook companies that run the market share, and the marketing. They have the name brand, and people just, no matter how effective or ineffective those things are, long as it has that name, they're comfortable with spending their money with that name brand. And that's kind of one of the issues in education, and why we're functioning at a failure rate right now, with like only 25% of our customer is doing well.
Right, and you very well described it, because I'm observing, for example, my kids. I mean, the elder one is grade 5, and then year 2, and I'm seeing it based on school to school. There are so many new tools are popping up, and they are living like in a year, 6 months, and then school are bringing another one, and that's keep. So that observation, being a technology guy, and I used to log into those all tools to do and check it, and then I'm realizing it, that if I'm changing a school, then new tools are coming doing the same function, and then after 6 months I'm seeing, oh no, there's no other another tool is introduced to the school. So
Yep.
you rightly pointed out that this is another challenge, and some of the things which are very new to as a parents to me.
Yep. Oh yeah. There's a failed implementation model. There's a failed communication model within the school system. It's every
Mm.
change in leadership. Every time you get a new principal, a new person with an idea, they buy something new, and it doesn't matter if it works or not. It's pretty,
Right.
and it was marketed to them, and they were told that it works. And so, yeah, like I said, it's no, it's more brand loyalty, and
Mhm.
adopting whatever it is that they're familiar with, the name that they take, instead of figuring out that there are tools that are successful for that population, and that they need to kind of stick with and roll it out till it's till it's efficient.
Right, true. So how what do you see in coming years for Playbook? Are you introducing more features or more area? How you see the
Yeah,
product enhanced?
yeah. I think I'm really impressed with the way multimedia is being handled. So when you look at XR, AR, and XR, to look at more ways that we could interact and engage the reading process, make it more interactive and multimedia. I think that will help. I think we're almost getting away from just the flat books. I mean, people, adults are really sold on paperback books, and yet we have a digital native population, where
True.
these kids are born at, they're born with a phone or iPad. And I mean, you see a kid at 10 months and they're scrolling up and down an iPad,
True.
and because of that, and we think that the only way a child can read is that they have paperback books. And so, and there's only 5 ways to teach a child to read, and it's not the
Mm.
type of book that has nothing to do with it. But I
Mhm.
think to get people away from that and make it an excuse of screen time and screen books is really kind of really make it an AR, XR type situation. I wouldn't say VR in a classroom
Mhm.
or in children's sense. I think that's kind of unsafe.
Mhm.
But when they really perfect that XR, and that VR, I mean AR, and that you can see your environment, engage in your environment, and still get that multimedia picture feel,
Mhm.
bring whatever it is you're reading to life. Man,
Mhm.
that's gonna be a game changer.
And anything on the generative AI, which you see that it's gonna bring something to your product.
I'm sorry,
The
I
large
didn't hear you.
language models, the chat GPT, these type of things are gonna bring something new to your product.
Well, I mean, we're working on a large language model as well, and the reason is one of the other technologies that we have a patent for, and we're kind of doing a little better job of it, is called text complexifier. And so
Mhm.
we can take any text. Let's say you're a third grader, you want to read about astronauts, and that book is only written at the sixth grade level. We can take any text and make it go up or down
Mhm.
by changing the text and not the content. And so we
Mhm.
keep the content the same, but the readability
Mhm.
level
Mhm.
changes depending on your readability level. So therefore, a teacher could be in a classroom
Mhm.
and have a multiple bunch of students at different levels and still read one book. Everybody can read, get
Mhm.
their understanding, and contribute to the conversation in the classroom discussion, as opposed to people being left behind.
To, before to concluding to the our today's discussion, now
Okay.
what do you see changes coming in the especially the education sector, uh, and any major impact due to AI, as the researchers and people are talking about the negative and positive ways, and you are being in the industry and you are working on the one is actual AI product which is making difference for the students. So in
Yeah.
your opinion, how you describe it, the situation?
Yeah. People are scared of AI in education because
Mhm.
they believe that it's disrupting the learning process, but it's a tool. It's the same tool that when we had a
Mhm.
calculator, people were scared of calculators and
Right.
said they can't use a calculator. Why not? It enhances a product, just like a carpenter has better hammers and has better drills, better saws.
Mhm.
It doesn't take away from the carpenter's skill, and so but that's the world we're going to live in. We're going to be need to know how to use those tools to better drive our decision making, and so yeah, I think that we shouldn't push back. I could tell you a secret. One of the things that they say, the schools that are going to be left behind are probably your more affluent schools. They're going to be left
Mhm.
behind because they are doing it right. They feel like they're fine, and so they're producing a
Mhm.
product, that memorizes, regurgitates facts and all those kind of things, and has,
Mhm.
and where you have schools that are failing, they're panicking, they're integrating technology like it ain't nothing, and they're using technology
True.
appropriately, not just to point and click and gaming, but they're using technology to be creative, to communicate, to collaborate, and creativity, all those kind of things. that you're going to need to use technology for in the future. And so they're not
Mhm.
afraid to take on AI and those kind of things because if you look at an affluent school, AI enhances someone to score better on the ACT. I don't know. I write a 30-page paper in high school. They're able to
Paper.
do it better
Yeah.
because so let's ban AI and have the kid write a 30-page paper. Where
Yeah.
in a more in a poverty school or middle class school, they're like, okay, let's figure out how AI can, because our kids are not writing where we want them to write anyway. So let's see how they can
True.
use this tool, and they will better learn
True.
how to use that tool to enhance their writing capabilities. And so now they're able to be creative when they think about prompts and being a prompt
True.
engineer or being those kind of things where that stuff is banned at more affluent
Mhm.
schools, and
Mhm.
and a different aspect comes out of
Mhm.
it.
Mhm. Agreed. Agreed. Agreed to it. Agree to it. All right. So maybe a last question. As our audience are from a technology background, and as the AI hype is at the maximum level everywhere, so a lot of folks are trying to either adopt or do some MVP or work on some AI project. Maybe it could be in any organization or maybe building a product their own. So, what are your maybe one or two insights or suggestions to them, being being working so long?
Yeah, I would say adopt, uh, tinker with AI. It's going to be a crucial part. It should be a crucial part of any invention from here on out. See, excuse me. The issue is that, like, when we were in a industrial revolution or technology, the .com revolution, or right now we were kind of in a mobile revolution. Like, they have last for
Mhm.
10 years, 12 years, 20 years. AI came in January of last year. By March, they were in a version 3. So never in
Right.
history have they switched so fast. Has technology advanced at this speed that AI is doing? And it's just going to
Mhm.
keep getting faster and faster. And so, yeah, you have to grab that bull by the horns. You have to be ahead of it, and because it's going to make other products obsolete very fast, very fast.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I would
Mhm.
say, as a technologist, that you need to engage and see how you can incorporate AI into your product. Please understand, everybody is familiar with blue collar automation. White collar automation
Mhm.
is
Oh.
happening fast. I mean, even in the
True.
doctor's office, even in the lawyer field is eliminating lawyers because the AI can search through any topic and show you any briefs
True.
or any court cases in a matter of seconds. And now it's your job as that one singular lawyer to be able to critically apply that information. And then when you start looking at globalization, is that your product is no longer competing against a local product or another state
Mhm.
product. Your product is going to be
Mhm.
competing from a global level. And
True.
so it's the same thing with jobs. Like I said, I haven't even seen my CTO in person.
Mhm.
uh, and so it's yeah, make sure that you incorporate AI.
True. Right. Got it. Thank you so much, Dr. Phil, for joining Open Tech Talks and sharing wonderful insights to your journey and based on your experience and using the AI and bringing a product which is beneficial to our kids and the students, which are especially English or reading capabilities is as you mentioned it is like a natural to some kids, but it's not that one that okay then how it's making difference to their lives and their careers and their journey towards learning and improving and getting more into education rather than the dropout which you shared. Thank you so much. Any
No
concluding
worries. Thank you.
remarks if you want to share and people wanted to join you back?
Yeah, just if you want to look up Playbook, it's Plabook. So it's you ask, well, it's a reading technology. Why would you misspell a word? and it's a multi-syllabic word, so a vowel can scream its name. So it's just showing you the complexity of the English language. But www.playbookeducation.com is our website. Go on there, recommend your school district buys our product, and you can look me up on LinkedIn at Dr. Phil. So I appreciate you having me on your show. No worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the OTech Talks podcast, and be part of Tech Talks at otechtalks.tv. It's a turf to share ideas, insights, and innovations.